Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Mechbay. Today we're looking at the Locust 1M, which is a mech where if you ever have the misfortune of finding yourself piloting it, I would recommend leaving that spot in your lance empty because, well, this mech is sometimes worse than having no mech at all. You're going to lose a pilot, you're going to be sad about it, it's going to cost you money, it's going to cost you the mech. It's just not a good place to be. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk through, one, how do you even stand a chance of getting any value out of this thing? And two, okay, well, let's assume that you kept this in your mech bay, you've gone into clan space, you've gotten the best tech in the game, you've done all that. How can you actually make this thing worthwhile? Is it even possible? Right? So, first off, let me just point out the movement on this thing. This thing walks at 9 and sprints at 14. It also has the Locust mech quirk, which gives 1 evasion pip from movement, plus 1 defense against being hit. Now, 1 evasion pip gives you a plus 2 defense, so as long as you're on the move, you're going to get plus 3 against being shot, just from being in this thing. Additionally, you're going to be able to top out at 7 evasion pips, which is a bit of a blessing and a curse, right? So this quirk takes up your gyro slot, and there's a gyro called the mobility gyro, or is it, yeah, okay, it's the defense gyro, that increases your maximum evasion pips, well, the ones that you would gain from moving. And if you're moving at 9 and you have this defense gyro in there, if you're sprinting at 14, you'd actually be able to go all the way up to 9 evasion pips, not just 7, plus 18 defense against being hit, instead of, with this quirk, with 7 evasion pips and the plus 1, you have plus 15. So you actually lose out on 3 points of defense by having this quirk as a non-removable gyro. But still, the way to survive with this mech is not through its armor, it's through not drawing fire, not getting hit. Which is actually why I picked the 1M variant of this mech. You have 2 missile slots on the arms, 1 on each arm. And right now in the base there's an LRM-5 in each spot. This guy is meant to run around, avoiding direct line of sight, and just provide 5 LRMs a turn to the front lines. That's it. A little bit of light fire support. If you have a mixed lance, let's say you drop in an assault mech, a heavy mech, a medium mech, and a light mech, and this is your light mech. Well, when your assault mech, when your heavy mech, when they open up spots in the armor of the OP4, then the Locust is meant to drop that indirect fire on exposed internal structure, get crits, disable mechs. It's not going to be killing anything other than in very rare occasions where something, say you down the enemy mech and it's just hanging on by a thread and this guy gets your last engine crit, because it's really all he's good for. But at the same time, a nice crit on some extra exposed structure could get an ammunition explosion, could take a weapon offline, could really relieve a lot of pressure. So think of this as less of a scout, more of a disabler. If you send this guy in as a scout, he's going to draw fire at the very first sign of contact. It's going to be a lot of LRMs, it's going to be a lot of SRMs, it's going to be maybe a PPC shot or two, maybe even an AC2. Let's say you go up against a Jaeger mech or something like that. You're going to take 2 to 4 AC2 shots. If even a single one lands, you're going to lose pieces. This is not a scout. So, with all that said, with all that out of the way, my first question is, does this medium laser help you? Now, we've just said that the role for this is dodging around, never getting direct line of fire. Medium laser is a direct line of fire weapon, so goodbye. We're going to make this thing have even fewer guns, all for the space. We're also going to assume now that you have the best tech in the game. We're going to throw in some Clan Pharaoh, which only gets us an additional 0.62 tons. This thing is a reduction on the weight of the armor that you add, and that's why I've put it in here. Right now it's not doing much for us, but as we add more armor, we will progressively get more benefit from our Pharaoh fibers. We're also going to come in here with a Clan extra large. Actually, here's one of the rare times where I'd recommend the extra large fusion engine. Normally this thing is a bad idea, and normally it's a bad idea because it's super fragile. It's everything that's wrong with the XL engine concept in terms of losing torsos, losing pieces, and then some. However, in this case, it takes off 66% of our engine weight, and now we have 5 free tons. It's not bad. So if we max our armor, now we actually can stand up to some hits, and we have 1.25 tons remaining. So how do we make this effective? My argument would be that LRM5s are not quite good enough. So one thing you may not know about BTA 3062 is clan LRMs, well, clan missile systems in general, not the streaks, just the regular, tend to be about half the weight of their inner sphere counterparts. So an inner sphere LRM5, 2 tons. A clan LRM5, 1 ton. Inner sphere LRM20, 10 tons. And the clan variant of the same, wait, hold on. Is that a glitch? Yeah, that's a glitch. 5 tons. Excuse me. So we have the ability to really severely increase our firepower here without paying all that much for it. Let's rip off these LRM5s and we'll throw in 2 clan LRM10s. So now this thing is getting off 25 missiles per single salvo. We're going to struggle a little bit with heat efficiency here, that's fine. Basically it means every other turn you fire 20 then 10, so you average 15, it's still better than what you could otherwise get. You are going to start chewing through ammo a little bit quicker, and that's where you have to sort of make some compromises. Now with the Locust, we can't pull off any heat sinks because we'll get that red signal up there, that means too few internal heat sinks. On the other hand, that means that the heat sinks we see aren't actually counting toward our weight. And an easy fix for our heat efficiency without adding any more weight is to simply put in, it actually doesn't really matter at this point, clan doubles or standard inner sphere doubles. We have the space for either, so let's just put in the standard inner sphere doubles. These are much more available, take up more space too, so you won't necessarily, if you only have one clan double heatsink kit, I'd use it on something else. And now we have to go over into our heatsink selection, and we have to put these back in because we're still getting that red error up there that says not enough internal. There we go, that's fixed. Now if we look at our heat efficiency, well, we're heat sinking 40, we're alpha striking for 30. Now we can fire 20 every single turn. We still have a problem, and that problem is that we're going to chew through our ammunition pretty quickly now. 1 ton of standard LRM ammunition gives you 120 shots. So if we're only firing 10, that's 12 entire salvos. Pretty good. Now we're firing 20, that's 6 salvos. It's really not enough. So what we're going to do, first we're going to go over here into Equip. We're going to get an FCS Artemis 4. Throw that on there. All this does is allows you to use Artemis 4 ammunition, which is better than the standard ammunition. And we're going to come over here into our LRM ammo section. And there it is. Okay. Tear off that standard ammo and put in 2 tons of Artemis 4 LRM ammunition. Now, the biggest bonus of this is the +3 direct fire accuracy. That's not something that we really intend to use very often, but even if it's indirect fire, we still get +1 accuracy with this, with our LRMs, and most importantly, the Artemis 4 FCS doesn't take any additional tonnage. It says 1, but your standard cockpit also takes 1 tonnage, so we don't have any increase here. However, we're 0.75 tons overweight. So this is where you have to make a couple compromises on your armor to bring that down, and it begins looking a bit more like we were to begin with, right? So I really don't have any strong recommendations here. I would say try to even it out as best you can. Something like this, maybe 40 on each torso, 50 in the center. Keep in mind, it doesn't matter if you lose a torso, or a right or a left torso, if you also lose the CT, mech's dead anyway. So you have to protect the CT over each side torso. It's just a fact of the way the game works. But this, I think, is not the worst thing ever. We've doubled our firepower, we've allowed ourselves to be effective with indirect fire, and an LRM-20 dropped on some poor unsuspecting mech in the OP4 can, that can crit seek really well, or it could even open up the internal structure on a mech that's severely damaged. So that's all I've got. Basically, if you want to fiddle around with specialty ammo types, there's no harm in that. There's actually a pretty good argument to be made for popping in some AoE ammunition on this guy, using him as a light mech hunter. It can be pretty effective. But that's all we've got for today. Thank you all for hanging around, and we'll see you again real soon.